Hi, welcome to the Holistic Hippie RN. I'm Laura Gibby, your host today, and I have with me Suzanne Butler. After 25 years of corporate life, Suzanne found her true calling, immersing herself in Feng Shui consultancy. She has the ability and knowledge to transform the way a home supports its occupants with complete harmony. Suzanne works with female solopreneurs who could use a helping hand to have their home support any and every endeavor they wish to attempt. And so today we're going to chat on a little bit about how your home is such a beautiful space, and there's key points in how your home is laid out towards how it applies to your life. And Suzanne here has so much knowledge with this. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm in Brisbane, Australia, and I got into feng shui because my life was rubbish. Trying everything, nothing was working. Had relationship problems, money problems, business problems, um, health problems. Everything was going wrong, and it didn't matter what I tried, nothing worked. Um, so I discovered feng shui, and within days, things started to change. And from there, I got absolutely obsessed and decided to get myself certified as a practitioner. And now I get to help other women change their lives every day. So it's amazing. After many years, found my purpose and calling. So it's awesome.
That's so neat. So what would you say was kind of like the first thing? So when you first started learning about feng shui, what would you say was the first thing that really, like, was there a first thing that you noticed that was a turning point for you in your life? Kind of like, oh, I've been doing this work, and all of a sudden this has started shifting.
This is the beauty of feng shui. You don't even need to believe in it for it to work. And we never know what exactly is going to happen because we don't know what you actually need in your life, or what the universe is telling you need in your life. So it manifests differently for everyone. For me, the first thing I noticed was money. For some reason, um, I had money blocks that I couldn't work out why. Money has never been an issue for me. I've always, if I've needed a big amount, it's always just appeared at the last minute. It was never a problem. But for some reason, running businesses, it became a problem. And I had this massive, massive block. And it wasn't until I put all the feng shui remedies in and things started flowing and I started getting money in my bank account, and then it stopped again. And from there, I realized there was deeper work I needed to do because the house was supporting me and showing me that it was possible again. But I needed to play my part and I needed to do my work in order for it to continue to flow. So, um, in my instance, I needed to do my tax return. I hadn't done my tax return in, I think, probably 2 years. And because I had done my calculations, because, I'm totally an accountant. And in my calculations, I had to pay additional tax to the government. I didn't have that money. And then that was then creating a panic and creating that money block. It's like, well, okay, if I don't have the money to pay the tax, I won't get the tax done because then I won't get the tax bill and then I don't have to pay the tax. So there's my head in the sand in this like really bad circle going on until I was told, do your tax. And I argued and argued and argued with my mentor. She said, just do your tax. And I ended up getting an $8,000 return. And once that happened, everything else just started coming through because I'd released that block. My home was supporting me to make that decision. It was not going to fail me. And if it did, then that was another lesson I needed to learn. It wasn't, oh, I always have to pay tax. I never pay tax, man, because who supports me. There was another instance that I had flights to Vietnam one of our airlines that opened a route to Vietnam, and I managed to get business class seats. And we had to change the flights because it was a budget problem, budget and work issue conflicts. We had to move the flights. And I'm thinking, oh, this is going to cost a fortune to rebook them. I'm going to have to pay hundreds of dollars. No, there were no refundable tickets. They changed them for free.
Wow.
So there's things like that that just started making life easy. And then when I tell people that that's what happened, they go, how did that happen? It just does. That's just how life is for me now. I don't know how things happen. I don't know why things happen. I just know that they do. And I trust that they do. And I trust that if it doesn't happen, then it's not for me. That's the bigger insight that I've got. So once your home is balanced and supporting you, if it makes it a lot easier for you to work through stuff, come to the realization that the world's not against you, and have this greater insight into yourself and your own psyche, and start trusting yourself, that things are happening for you, not to you.
So what would you say is a tactic that you use when you're assessing someone's home so that you can help promote their balance, where they, not only that actually, but going off of what you said too, but in the sense of people learning that the home supports you once they balance the home, but then also knowing the need to take the action within themselves, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I guess the greatest way to explain this is you've got a mug. And a mug is a mug. We know what it's used for, but it's useless unless you put something in it.
Mm-hmm.
And Feng Shui is the same. You put the Feng Shui in, the Feng Shui is the mug. But unless you actually utilize it and get a deeper understanding of you and your life, then it'll only do so much. It will sit there and it will work to a point, but it won't bring everything in that you're wanting because you haven't been specific. You haven't added the tea.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to what you just said, when I look at someone's home, obviously there's things that I do. So I run calculations. It's a calculation sheet, which is based on the position of the home on the land, the compass direction, when it's built or when you moved in. There's a number of different ways we have to look at it. It's not an exact science. Things we do, for one person, it might not work for the next person. So we have to really work deeply with someone. So if anyone is going like interested and they're wanting to get a Feng Shui report done, make sure that you've got continued support, because if things don't work straight away, we need to revise. Because, and I have had a couple of people that have done that this year. We've had to revise because what we did initially did not work. And it's not through fault of my own. It's literally that just doesn't work for you. Okay, so let's try this, and that has worked. So you have to have the knowledge and the insight just to be able to connect into the house and ask it. I'm constantly talking to my apartment. Are you happy? Is there anything I need to add in? Is there anything I need to take out? What needs to change? Have I got enough of this in? Have I got enough of that? So, and that's been my constant the entire 10 years, is connecting in with my home, asking my home, is it happy? Because if the home's not happy, if you come home and you say, oh, you drive up to your house and you dread going inside, your home knows that. It feels that.
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps showing you that. As soon as you start sharing gratitude and thanking it, things will start to shift. And that's also what happens. We balance. House still isn't happy because you're not happy.
Mm-hmm.
You're not grateful for where you're living. And whether or not you're living in a home that has seen tragedy or divorce or death or anything like that, the home has still been there for you. It's still given you shelter. It's given you protection. You need to be grateful to it. So it shows you that gratitude back. Same in everything part of your life. Show gratitude. Whatever you put your focus attention on, multiplies.
Mhm.
Your home's no different. So looking at someone's home, if I walk into someone's home, I can see what is going on. I can see why things might not be working out, whether it is, and it's nothing to do so much with placement of furniture or what paint you have on the walls. It's what you surround yourself by. And I can see what you're missing from your life by that. So people that are trying to make the home feel better will start buying throw rugs, pillows, trinkets, ornaments, things to put on every flat surface, plants. So your house looks like a homeware store, but it still doesn't feel right because it's not balanced and it won't feel right. And you can feel that it doesn't feel right because that's why you keep buying these things to try and fix it. Your house is out of balance. And that's where minimalist, we don't like decluttering is very important. We don't Marie Kondo everything, but decluttering is really important. You only want the things you need in your home. You don't need more than that.
So what's an example of when you go into a home? I guess what's an example of how you said you can go into a home and you can read a person essentially, I guess.
Yeah.
And how you said they're buying things that just to fluff the home, make it in a way more comfortable, but it's not really. What kind of things would you tell them to shift that? Or how would you make it more balanced for the home?
Yeah. So, and I'm really sorry if my internet it's been unstable the last couple of days. Um, the bedroom is a major factor. I will when people tell me, oh yeah, we've got a really happy relationship. And then I look at their numbers in their report and it tells me a different story. And then I look at their bedroom and I know they're lying to me because the bedroom tells all. If you've got a bedroom that doesn't have like a bed shoved into the corner, well, there's no room for that other person to even get into bed.
Mm-hmm.
Matching bedside tables and lamps. There's no balance in the relationship. If you have a bedroom full of stuff from your previous relationships, your partner does not feel welcome. If you have photos of your children in the bedroom, there's very little intimacy. So I can see a lot from someone's bedroom specifically because a lot of people come to me about their relationship. So that's one thing I can pick up really, really quickly. And if you have a partner, it's not just for you, for them as well. If you're looking for a partner, you have to create space for them to come in. I'm not suggesting they move in straight away, but leaving a drawer empty so they've got somewhere to put clothes, having some spare hangers that you do not use in your wardrobe that they can use then to hang things up. Making sure that the bedside cabinet is you're walking the energy in. Having images of single people in your bedroom, that's single person energy. So yeah, if you're single, you want to make sure that there's pairs. You don't want individual single images of people. So any artwork in your bedroom, make sure there's pairs. There's two people in it. But there's a lot of images that people like to put up for romance. And they might be of like, say, a rainy scene in Paris, and there's umbrellas and things like that. That's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
But just make sure that there's only two people in there, that there's not like third parties on the outskirts of the image,
Mm-hmm.
because how do affairs start? From people on the outskirts. So just make sure there's only two people in that actual image. So if you're in a relationship, then also make sure that there's no threes, only ever pairs, because that will bring in third party affair energy. And that's what I see if I am looking at someone's bedroom, and I can typically tell if someone's had an affair or they're really unhappy, whether it's a physical affair or emotional. It's always very obvious. Like people buy a lot of hearts
Mhm.
and they'll put them in their bedroom. And people buy threes because it's aesthetically it's more pleasing.
Mhm.
But it's a third person. You want two hearts for two people. That's it. Um,
That's really
and
cool.
then the other, yeah, yeah. So it's just very obvious. Like when you're looking to buy a new house,
Mhm.
just make sure that you ask the realtor why they're selling. And if it is because of a divorce, don't buy the house.
Mhm. So,
And interestingly enough, I think that's going to be more prevalent in the next 20 years. We are going to see a lot more divorces because there are four house types typically, but we are moving into cycle 9 and it brings it down to two house types,
mm,
which will be good for money, bad for people, and bad for money, good for people. So if it's bad for people, we are going to see more illness, we're going to see more divorces and relationship problems. So just be very careful when you're buying that you ask the question as to why they're selling.
so say someone buys a house and they don't know if there's been a previous, I don't know if you would call it a trauma or a tragedy, but some kind of dynamic, even such as divorce or affair. If you were to come in and work on balancing the energy within the house, how would you approach a new house buy for someone?
So for someone moving into a house, and this is just from experience of me working with people and even myself, I would suggest they live in the house 1 to 2 months before bringing someone in,
Mhm.
especially now. Um, we are moving, so we're moving into cycle 9, which is a new 20-year cycle. We're currently in cycle 8. Um, so if the house has been built in the last 20 years, its construction date or construction cycle is 8. But if you're moving next year, it can move to cycle 9. And we need to test and measure. If you're moving in before February, then it will be cycle 8. But if you're moving in after February, it may be cycle 9 because it depends on the property. It depends what you do to the house. So if you do any renovations, any facelifts, painting, new flooring, any of that, it can change the construction cycle.
Mm.
So I would just recommend someone stay in the house a couple of months, see what's going on. If you start fighting with your partner, the only change you've made is moving. That's it. It's not you, it's your house.
Mhm.
So you have to live in a place to experience what it's bringing up for you before we can, effectively feng shui your place. So this apartment, I thought it was cycle 7 when I moved in. I did my report based on that. I put my remedies in based on that. I went away for 6 weeks. I came back. Everything fell off. It did not feel right at all. So I re-looked at it, and what cycle 8 report was telling me was bang on for what was going on. So I adjusted it. So that was a 3-month gap between moving in and readjusting. And I went from me thinking the place was good for people, bad for people, good for money, to it actually being bad for money and in a money lock for the next, well, for 2023. And I have felt it. Like I know that's what it is because I felt it. Money has been, I know we're in a cost of living crisis, but this is just completely abnormal from the last 2 years that I've had to now. It has been huge. I've felt this massive impact and I'm doing nothing differently. So I know that this place is bad for money. And I expect in February, when the energies change, things will start flowing again. I know that's what's going to happen because that's what does happen. So yeah, that would be my recommendation is just wait a couple of months, see how everything is feeling, and then we get it feng shui. I have a client who's just moved and she's been in there, I think, 6 weeks, and she messaged me the other day. She says, okay, there's strange stuff going on. This isn't right. So I've just sent through my information. Great, I can get that done for you. So it's a clever thing to do, is just to wait, especially if we don't know, like there's a difference in when the place was built to when we're doing the report. If there's a difference in cycles, if it was built in the last 20 years, well, it's still cycle 8. It's not a problem. If it was built 40 years ago, 50 years ago, we need to test and measure.
That's neat. It's kind of like numerology then, almost the sense of like the number it's in aligns with a specific number type of year in a way.
Yeah. So when like you see 8, so we're in cycle 8. Where I'm sitting right now is in the south, which is my fame and reputation area. And I won a business or runner up in a business award last week. So this is a perfect place for me to put this award so I can see it. Fame and reputation, I want more of that. But this area also has 2 8s in it, which, given we're in cycle 8, is the best money combination. It's the best location for me to have my office where I'm actually sitting. But in cycle 7, it would have been, it should have, like 2 7s would have been the best money combo. Next year, well, 2 9s would be the best money combo. So, well, as far as we know, we don't know what's going to happen. No one's been alive during this period, so we're just working it out as we go. But that's typically the good numbers of that cycle are the cycle you're in. So 8's this now, it's now 9's will be from next year for 20 years. So it's constantly changing. We're constantly having to keep learning and researching, and it's just super interesting why things happen to people. And I feel really blessed to be able to help people out with this, because it probably wasn't something anyone did 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something you never really came across then. And I think it's really neat, the science, the energy behind how your home space can be such a big player in your life space, even the energy of what's going on around you. What types of things do you like? What is a really good tip that you could give someone if they're in a new space and they want to, I guess, even getting to know your home, like when you move somewhere and you're getting to know your home, because it's kind of like your home is its own entity. What would be something that is a good practice for someone to get to learn more about their home?
The biggest thing I've learned for myself is where clutter collects, that's where the energy is off. It's like a magnet. So be very conscious of that and keep it clean and clear. Because then otherwise it just gets stagnant and nothing shifts. And decluttering is important, and it's not just a one-off. And you have to be brutal with yourself. And you have to stop worrying about what other people might think about what they gave you. If you don't like something, get rid of it. It is not serving you. It is not helping you. It's holding space that could be filled by something that brings you complete joy. You receive wedding presents that you weren't happy with because they didn't buy off the registry. They went off, cocked, and did their own thing. Then move it on. There'll be someone on Facebook Marketplace that will love it. So send it to a home that's going to appreciate it. Don't just shove it in the back of a cupboard because you don't want to deal with it. Same with clothes. And this is a big one for women. You've spent a lot of money on clothing. You might have put weight on. You might have lost weight. You might have had a baby. You might have, I don't know. If you have a piece of clothing in your wardrobe that you have not worn in 10 years, honey, you ain't wearing it again. Get rid of it. Because even if you did get back to that size, your body shape will have changed. It's not looking like that anymore. And you're not going back to the club. So get rid of it. You've entered mum era or middle age era, or you're not dancing on tables anymore. You do not need that mini dress. Get rid of it. I don't care if it costs you $500. Sell it. You've already spent the money. I'm sure you got your wear out of it. Get rid of it.
Well, and our identities change so much, our identities change. That's like, don't go back to things like that. And even in homes, as far as how we make things look, it all shifts, it seems like.
Yeah. like my aesthetic now to what it was when I was 21, the furniture, well, styles change, obviously.
Mhm.
But I got matching, I don't know, it would have been 21, 22. I got a couch made for me in this beautiful dark blue and matching chairs for the dining table. And I look back and I'm like, I would not buy that now in a pink fit. It's the same as clothes. You know what
Mhm.
suits you. That ain't it. Get rid of it. Move it on.
Mhm.
Stop living in the past. It's gone.
How often would you tell someone that they should go through and declutter? I mean, definitely like little things of being mindful about not creating clutter, but how often is it good to go through and just kind of clean, like really reassess, you know?
I think this time of year is a perfect time to
Mhm.
declutter. And I would do it like 6 monthly at
Mhm.
least. I
Mhm.
mean, obviously, the daily decluttering and throwing stuff out.
Mhm.
Um, but this time of year, especially if you have kids, it's super important to declutter now. It's an overwhelming time of year. Everything's going on. End of year. Well, I don't know what it's like in the US, but like we shut down for basically a month now
Mhm.
from probably the 20, my birthday on the 22nd, we'll shut down probably till about the 20th of January because it's summer, holidays, kids are on holidays, it
Mhm.
just shuts down. Um, but we've got Christmas coming up. If you know your kids are going to be getting, say, 10 presents from Santa, then you need to get into their bedrooms and clear 10 things from their bedroom
Mm.
because you do not want the overwhelm on the 26th of December. Where am I going to pull this stuff? Do it
Mhm.
now. So get your kids involved. Ask them to pick 10 present or 10 of their toys that they've outgrown that are still in good nick,
Mhm.
and donate them. You can donate them to a shelter. You can donate them to a charity that needs good, present, or a church even that needs presents to be able to give other less fortunate children.
Mhm.
So it does two things. It removes it from your house, but also teaches your children the art of giving and the gratitude.
Mhm.
So that would be one thing I would highly recommend you do now. Do it this weekend. Get in the kids' bedrooms and declutter.
Mhm.
Um, and if you can't do it on the weekend, do it when they're at school so that they can not be there when you're getting rid of all the McDonald's toys as well, because
Mhm.
we know that they multiply. I don't know if you guys get toys and Happy Meals over there, but we do here. And
Yep.
then the kids' bedrooms are full of
We do.
really crappy plastic.
Mhm.
Yeah, so do that while they're at school if you have to. But that would be my number one recommendation. Same for you. If you know you've asked for certain things for Christmas, make space for them now. Um, get your planning done now. Get your, do your bulk cooking for the freezer. So if you're at school concerts, end of your Christmas concerts, whatever, when you get home, you can just pull something out of the freezer instead of going through the drive-through again for the 5th time that week.
Yeah.
Just do some planning now, decluttering now. Go through your freezer, go through your pantry, make sure that everything is in date, so you're not feeding people food that is out of date.
Mhm.
There's so many different ways to declutter. Kitchen is very important because that's the heart of the home. That's the health center of the home. You're feeding people. It's
Mhm.
life force, life energy. So make sure that your pantries are clean out of date items. Again, go through and donate things that you know you're not using or you won't ever use. With canned goods, donate them. There'll be someone that would be so grateful for it this time of year.
Mhm.
Um, your office, take the opportunity to clean out your office. I believe your tax season's 1st of Jan. Is that right?
Yep, it
Yeah.
starts in January and filed by April.
Yeah. Yeah. So get started now.
Mhm.
Go through your office, take the time to get everything together so you're ready to send stuff on the 1st of Jan.
Mhm.
Um, Bathrooms, the same. Decluttering your bathrooms. I do not know how it happens, but where does all that stuff come from? I
I
don't
know.
buy toiletries, but my cupboards are always overflowing with stuff. I don't know where it came from. I stopped buying. I used to get a beauty box just subscription. I had to stop. It's like, I'm not using this stuff. It's just taking up space. It's
Mhm.
wasteful. So go through again, anything that you haven't used, that's you haven't used, donate it.
Mhm.
There is so much we have in our home that's sitting there, stagnant energy that someone else could use for a greater good. Get it out of your house, and don't go mad in the sales. You don't need it. If you didn't need a full price, you don't need a half price. Do not buy it.
Yeah. So if someone has a lot of clutter, which always
Yeah.
makes me a little nervous because I like keeping things pretty cleaned out. But if
Yeah.
someone did have a lot of clutter and they wanted to declutter, what is a really good small step they can take? Because, when someone has a lot, it gets overwhelming thinking of
My
attacking the whole.
favorite question.
Yeah. So what is a really good small?
Start with, yeah, start with your knicker drawer.
Oh, oh.
Start with your knicker drawer. Go through your undies, chuck them out that are either got, when the elastic comes away from the actual underwear, throw them out. If they're old, throw them out. If they're stained, throw them out. If they do not fit and you have bought them and you wore them once and you're constantly picking them out of your bum, throw them out. And then go and buy yourself panties that fit, that you feel sexy in, that you feel good in, that you're going to wear every day, and not question which ones you're pulling out every morning. Start with your knicker drawer. Then get rid. I mean, obviously, this time of year, the holy undies from your husband, they will be dismissed because we know that they wear them until there's nothing left.
Yep.
And they will have gotten the socks, jocks, and shocks for Christmas. So same, then move on to theirs, and then go to your t-shirts and your tops and your shorts, your shoes. Then get into your wardrobe and start there, and get rid of that mini dress from 1986 that you're never going to wear again.
So it's kind of like it's almost the sense of it starts with you. So you start with the most personal things, even the most
Yeah,
personal things, underwear, and
absolutely.
work your way out into the rest of the house.
Yeah.
That's really
And the
beautiful.
other thing is, people say, but my husband hoards or my partner hoards, and so don't worry about them. Things start happening by osmosis. Once you start clearing your things, they will start to change themselves. You don't have to tell them. You don't have to nag them. And if they don't want to do it, put it in one particular room. That's yours to deal with. I don't want to. I don't want to look at it. Shut the door. And then when they complain that something in life is going wrong, well, that's where that is in the house. You need to sort it out.
Mm.
But once you start decluttering and they start feeling how good it is, they will start doing it. And then the biggest thing that people say, oh, once I've decluttered, I'll get you in. No. Balance first, and then automatically you'll start decluttering. You can't help yourself. It just happens. I get fed up. I need to declutter. Like I'll just get anxious. No, and I'll start throwing things away. I don't declutter for people because I'll literally throw shit out. It's as simple as that. If I think you don't need it, it's gone. So I do not offer decluttering services. It would be a disaster. I would have 1-star reviews on Google. So I don't do that. But I actually have a decluttering checklist. You can download on my website, which I've tried to put a bit of humor into it just to make it easy. Because there's a lot of things that you'll see on this list and you'll go, oh yeah, I've got that too. Like the basket of cords that you have, or the box of cords from every device you've had since 1978.
Yep.
Including the VCR
Yep.
cords that you haven't had a VCR in 10 years. You for some reason we keep all these cables for a rainy day and you're never going to use them again. Throw them away. Just put them in the bin. You're not going to use them. They're going to be in your garage. I know they're in your garage. Go get rid of them, throw them out. You're not going to use it, I promise.
What about, like the junk drawer with like, it's like where people just kind of put the little items that don't
Yeah.
quite fit anywhere because they're just tiny.
Yeah.
What would you say about
Yeah.
that?
I mean, you keep it because that elastic band is a really, really good elastic band. It's like keeping that really good box.
Mm-hmm.
It's why you keep it. Um, Look, everyone has a junk drawer. I don't actually have one anymore. But like, the things like the appliance instruction manuals, you don't need to keep them because you
Mm-hmm.
can download them online.
Mm-hmm.
So they're things that you can actually throw out quite safely and not have to worry about. But yeah, go through that drawer and just be serious with yourself. Have a giggle while you do it. Pull everything out, vacuum out the drawer because there are going to be crumbs in there. You don't need the bread tags. You do not need all those rubber bands. Maybe keep one or two because you always do need one or two.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you don't need the receipts that are in there. You don't need the manuals. You don't need those broken pieces or whatever it was. The super glue has dried out. You can throw that out. Um, you know, you can do it. You just got to do it.
Right.
It's not a big job. It's just one of those things that we should do regularly, and we've got so many other things to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely important to do it at least annually and go through it.
What kind of shifts have you noticed for people when they first start decluttering, I guess, like when they really clean up? Because I know how you said, like with your children, if they're about to get X amount of toys for Christmas, then you clean out the same amount, if not more. So
Yeah.
when people start shifting that energy of cleaning things out of their life, what shifts do you notice in the person, I guess, if you're working with them?
But a lot of it depends on where in the house it is. So I like to use this analogy. You're looking for a new job.
Mm-hmm.
You're a really good candidate, can't find a job.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know why, the market it's for candidates right now. You should be getting calls back and you're not. And your teenage son, his bedroom, we don't need to describe what it's going to look like because we all know. It's situated in the north of your home. Your
Mm-hmm.
north is your career and life path. But then all of a sudden, he's got a girlfriend. She's coming over. So he decides, I want to impress her. I'm going to clean out my bedroom. So out come 15 mugs, 5 forks, a few plates, the laundry. Where did that top come from? Haven't seen that in months. Cleans out his bedroom. It is absolutely spotless. And then all of a sudden the phone rings. And it's the CEO from the company you really want to work for.
Mm.
Because he's decluttered that energy. He's removed the stagnation and it's opened opportunity up for you. That's how it works.
That's really cool. I love that.
Like, I don't know if that's actually happened, but that's just an analogy of how it
It's a good
can
analogy.
happen. Yeah, yeah,
It makes sense because it's a sense of like someone might not even be aware of that space in their house being that being clogged is actually what's clogging somewhere else in their life. That's really neat.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's just being very conscious of what's going on in that area. So I say this is my fame and reputation. I've got this certificate here that I've printed off, that my runner-up award. I'm actually going to get a better copy of it because I don't know what's going on with my printer, but put a frame and put it on the wall here in front of me so I see it all the time. But then I wouldn't sit here and have a printout of any bad email from a client. Well, not that they happen, but because I'm fabulous, let's be honest. But if there was a Google review that was terrible, I wouldn't print that out and put that here because that would go completely against what I'm trying to bring in for myself. Same with the Southwest. Behind me is my Southwest. It's reflective of like still business because it's my office, but on the shelf there, I've got two birds facing each other, two lovebirds facing each other for relationship. What else have I got in here? I've got a plant pot down here with it's two people with plants in them. What else have I got? Yeah, so anything, there's a couple of bits and pieces here reflective of relationships, of what I'm looking for. But in my bedroom is my southeast. I've got a small altar, which is just a pot of money. I'm obsessed with pineapples. My old branding actually had a pineapple in it because pineapple is an abundant fruit. So I've got two pineapples in there. But I've also got, because I want a good love life, I've got I've got two Japanese, I think they're called Koki dolls. And there are a pair of them that are sitting on the bedside table. So I'm still bringing in the right energy for that area, but also being reflective of what that area is as well. So like I say, behind me, Southwest, which is my relationships, I've got my certification certificate. This all to do with my business and what I'm trying to bring in relationships with people as well. It's not just relationships with a potential partner, it's relationships with others. So you've got to have a balance of what's going on. What else have I got? I mean, I'm in a very small apartment, so I'm very limited with decor anyway and what I can do. But the west, which is your new beginnings area, which is in my living room, I've also got a piece of art that has two birds flying towards each other. So new beginnings, new partnership. So it's all reflective of what I'm wanting to bring into my life. I have things scattered around to reflect that. So yeah, just be very conscious about what you've got in your house, and is it bringing in what you want it to? You know, your southeast, is that where you dump your laundry? Do you feel like you're constantly doing laundry because you keep putting in your southeast? It's abundant, all right.
That's funny. This weekend, I just said how I was doing so much laundry nonstop. Now I need to assess that.
Yeah. So, when we had a chat the other day, we were talking about Buddha, and this is contentious for a lot of people. I never recommend Buddha in anybody's home unless you are a Buddhist. The reason being is that us as non-Buddhists do not understand how revered Buddha is, and also the meaning behind Buddha. Buddha gave up everything. He gave up his family, gave up a sex life, gave up like poverty, chastity, gave up everything for spiritual enlightenment. And Buddha should never, ever be placed in areas where you are naked, ever. It's really disrespectful to the Buddhist religion. So bedrooms out. Do not put Buddha in. No deity should be in the bedroom at all. It's the same as putting photos of your children in. It's like something watching on. Do you really want that? No Buddha in the bathroom. You're naked in there all the time. If you're going to put Buddha in your home, the northwest would be the only place I would suggest, and make sure that you give Buddha an offering, like flowers or rice or something. But please don't use Buddha as a decor item because that you've gotten from TK Maxx. If you've bought it from somewhere and it's a piece of art, like proper art, okay. But if you've just gone to TK Maxx and you've found this Buddha head, don't buy it. It's disrespectful to the Buddhist religion. And it can affect your life. If you put it in your southeast and you're wondering why you've got no money, that would be why. And you took a vow of poverty.
Yeah.
So just be really careful. I mean, you're not putting, I mean, you might, I don't know, but if you're a Christian, are you putting, images of Jesus around? I would suggest you aren't. So why are you using another religious icon in your home? That's controversial, and I'm sure people will hear this and go, what's she talking about? Like, how dare she tell me what I can and can't have in my home? But just something to think about. The other thing is ashes. I've been talking to a lady this morning who has multiple urns in her home. And it's a very sensitive subject, but you have to remember that was a person who is now dead. It is literal dead energy. And depending on where you put it, it can create problems in that area of your life. So if you have it in your lounge room, but your lounge room is actually your southwest, which is your love and relationships, and you are looking for a partner, you're not going to find one. If you are in a partnership and your relationship is struggling, that would be why. I've got a client who had a dog who she kept the ashes in a box and it was actually in the southwest. And she loved this dog. And I understood that I've only recently this year lost my dog and I loved her to bits, but I kept nothing of hers. I didn't need to. I've got enough memories, enough photos. I didn't need to keep anything physical of her in my home to remind me. And I asked the question, why have you kept the ashes? Well, because I love the dog. Okay. But don't you want your dog to be running across the Rainbow Bridge? And she went, well, yeah. I said, well, you've got him locked in a box right now. And oh my God, wow. I didn't even think about that. And she'd been holding on to this because she didn't have children. Her and her husband couldn't have children. She'd been holding on to these ashes for 5 or 6 years. And that afternoon she went and scattered them. I said, how did that feel? She goes, I felt so much better letting him run free in somewhere that he was going to be happy. And it's the same with people. They're not here anymore. Their soul is gone. Their spirit is gone, but their memory will always be with you. You do not need an urn of ashes to remember them by. And it's only going to keep perpetuating grief if you're seeing that urn sitting on the mantle or on a shelf or wherever you're putting it. It's only perpetuating. It's not letting you heal and remembering them for who they were, because they're not that person anymore. And I understand people like to wait until, say mum and dad have gone and you'll put them together. But why not get a lovely big pot and put the ashes for one in the pot? And when the other person passes, you can add their ashes to that pot. Put a lovely big rose bush in it, or just something that you can then remember them by, a thing of beauty. Every time a flower blooms, you're seeing the beauty of it, not an urn sitting on a shelf. And it clears that energy from your home. There was one lady I spoke to last year. She's actually a love coach, and she came and she said, question about urns. I went, no, not in the house. And she went, I said, why? She's, well, I've got my dad's ashes. I said, okay, and where are they? And she said, well, I think they're in the southwest. I said, and you're single? She said, yes. I said, I would be moving them on. Give him the send-off that you believe he deserves and move them on. Within 2 weeks, she met her now partner. They've just been together 12 months, and she is ridiculously happy. And he's a perfect match for her. Absolutely perfect match for her. So she removed that stagnant dead energy from that area of her life and then met him. So what I'm saying actually does work, and that's how it is. You can like it, you can disagree with me. I'm not here to tell you what to do. These are my recommendations. There is no Feng Shui police. Well, there might be. I'm not one of them. The choice is yours, but just be aware of what your choice could mean.
I love that. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
Well, I could talk about this for hours.
I know it makes me have so many questions that I think of especially the dynamics you said, like in the bedroom about having, like if you meet someone and they move in with you, but you have two completely different styles, it's interesting to take into account how that can, like, the two styles coming together can just mishmash if it's not really
Yeah.
looked at, or how you
Yeah.
said with the ashes, how it can create a dead space of energy, which totally makes sense. And a lot of people hold
Yeah.
on to that because of their own internal grief, but it can move
Yeah.
mountains for them
Yeah.
if
Like
they
it,
release.
releasing, letting things go is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Like so powerful. So talking like I say, I lost my dog. She was very old, and it was just time. And had a beautiful a company like a vet company comes and actually puts them to sleep in your home and treats them with utmost respect. It was the most beautiful experience that I could have given her and that I could have given myself. They took her away, they even put flowers on her, like it was beautiful. Half an hour after that, her bed was gone, her bowl was gone, her collar was gone, her lead was gone. I did a space clearing of the house, and her energy, like the sick energy that
Mm-hmm.
was I was holding on to, it was gone from the space,
Mm-hmm.
which enabled me to move on and enabled my other dog to also grieve as well and not sit in that. Like she couldn't feel, because dogs are very perceptive,
Yeah.
very perceptive. They know what's going on. So I did it for her more so than me. I didn't want her confusion about, well, there's another bed there. Where's Danica gone? So got rid of everything. And the only thing I kept is I got myself from Amazon. You can buy these ink pad things to get a nose print and a paw print,
Aw.
and then that will go in. And yeah, that's all I kept.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need anything more than that, and that will just go in a frame.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's all I needed. I didn't need her physical energy there. Like I've got enough of it with her hair. It's still hanging around. I
Uh-huh.
don't need a physicality of something from her. It's not necessary. I've got photos, I've got memories. That's all I need. I mean, everyone's got Facebook memories that pop up every 12 months about what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
They're never going away. But it's when death happens, it's time.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for that to end. It's time for you to move on to the next. And not saying you forget them, but it's the end of an era. It was their time. It's our time to grieve, but then also not sit in that forever. You
Mm-hmm.
will never forget them, but having an urn that you're looking at every day does not let you move on.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I would never have thought of that. So thank you.
Mm. Okay.
Well, I am so glad that you came today. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to have had you here.
My
And I feel
pleasure.
like I've learned a lot. I feel like there's so many juicy bits that you can give people just about how to, make their home a better place, more balanced place, and how they can live in harmony in their home, even, and how that brings
Yeah.
harmony throughout their whole life. And I just think that's a powerful thing. That's such a beautiful thing that you do.
Yeah. Yeah. And as I say, we're about to see some massive shifts in the
Mhm.
next 12 months. Um, Life might get better for some people and it might get worse for others. So all I can say is that if it does get worse, please reach out, because it's not you, it's your home.
Mhm. Thank you so much, and take care.
My pleasure. Thank you.